2019. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast, Wednesday Night Wars, talking about AEW Dynamite versus NXT on USA. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined as always by Matt Morgan, Raj Giri, and Justin LaBar to cover all the Wednesday Night Madness. We've got the first ever AEW Tag Team Champions. We're going to have 2 WarGames matches coming up at NXT TakeOver WarGames. Rick and Morty made appearances tonight on AEW Dynamite, as did Ricky Morton. It was a hell of a night. We had a contract signing. Matt, you watched both shows tonight?
Yes, this was a great night, I thought. I was very happy with tonight's wrestling. And I just want to say the title of the show is #Glenn's Comeback. Look at Glenn's background, fans watching at home. This is why you need to watch our show. Watch Glenn's background. Check it out, folks.
You should have dressed like Bray Wyatt.
I was looking. I don't own any sweaters, or I would have. But I thought with tomorrow being Halloween, what more appropriate way to celebrate that than by broadcasting from the Firefly Funhouse?
Been dressing up as his non-dressed up version of himself? Is that how you're celebrating Halloween?
You know, I couldn't wear a mask during. That would be weird.
How did you get that background really quick? I'm not going to stop.
From one of the Money in the Bank promos, there was the shot when he first debuted The Fiend. There was like an empty shot of the Funhouse. So I just put that on a loop, the little 4 seconds of video, and have that going behind me.
Oh, yeah, look, the curtain moves a little bit every once in a while. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Technology at its finest.
You look like his accountant sitting in his funhouse.
Anti-Semitic, Justin. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Why do I have to be his accountant?
You are pot committed to the funhouse, my friend.
Why can't I be there to install, check the plumbing or something? I mean, I'm just saying, I could have any number of jobs, but accountant, sure, I'll take it. So tonight, man, I feel like we should talk about that AEW finish first. Online, everybody loved Lucha Brothers versus SCU. But Matt, what did you think about that small package roll-up for the quick finish there?
Unpredictable. I think that I like when that happens, actually. That shows more real. I think that adds more realism to wrestling. It doesn't happen enough, especially in that company where you have to shoot somebody with a freaking elephant gun in order to get them not to kick out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love it when it's not a telegraph finish, where it's not boom, boom, boom. You recover, you hit a couple moves, hit your finish, match is over. It's good to have variety in there.
And remember, these moves really quick, you guys. These moves, small pack. It just says the other night, O'Connor roll, Oklahoma roll, schoolboy, all of those small package. All of those were created, you guys, specifically for these upset wins out of nowhere. That's what they're for. Yeah, so it's finally about time somebody gets a win with one of them.
Yeah, what's old is new again. I mean, you used to see a ton of those quick. I think about Piper and Brett at WrestleMania 8. I think about Diesel and Brett Survivor Series 95. These quick roll-up small packages.
Brett Owen, the victory roll. We hit him.
Yeah, absolutely Mania 10.
Me and Kurt Angle stole that, by the way. Bound for Glory. Check it out, fans. That's okay.
You don't get that as often, so I like that. But the only thing I'm not crazy about it being done to the Lucha Brothers and then them not attacking afterwards. I feel like they're kind of a vicious tag team that the Pentagon just kind of standing there, just
that
talking.
Was weird a little bit with
him having a debate with the referee. That doesn't quite jive with me for Pentagon and Phoenix. But I do like the surprise element that they gave us.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about AEW first, then NXT, then cover some of the top stories in the wrestling world today.
The stuff with Cody, which we'll get to, I thought that was even greater.
Yeah, started with Cody
brother.
And Dustin coming in with Tony Schiavone. What did you think of that tonight, having Tony do the ride-along, as it were, sitting in the back of the car with Cody?
Different.
Different tone, right? I think we've all complained about the plethora of action happening in the ramp or in the ring. This was different for AEW.
The aesthetic of it changed it. It wasn't like he talked any different. Anything he did, he didn't use any different types of words, right? But what got the message conveyed, ironically, was the aesthetic setup of it, right? I've been saying for years, I wish they would change the aesthetic setup of wrestling in general. This kind of, for me, did that. I was way more attentive to what he was saying for some reason. The only thing I could think of was the setup was different. The aesthetic of it was different.
Yeah, it felt more personal. It fit because of the players. I mean, Tony Schiavone literally has known Cody's family for 30 years, so it feels like you're seeing this intimate, real conversation with them. And I like how it segued things because it changed the contract segment up to where you don't just have the Tony Schiavone out there bringing both people out. He naturally shows up And I like how, how often we see the limo pull up, and I always, laugh at like when a limo pulls up when there's 15 minutes left of the show. I'm like, why is this guy late for work? At least it made sense. The limo pulls up and they get right out and they go right to work. I felt it was just a great presentation of something that has been so redundantly done to the worst degree, which is the contract signing in the ring and even the fight breaking out. And Jericho kind of mocked that. I thought they did a great job with this.
Yeah, I think too with them coming in on a private plane, it makes them look like big stars. It makes them look big deal, like big time. And I loved it just from an 80s wrestling fan standpoint, because that was very Horseman-esque, coming in on the private plane and getting off. And I thought that was a cool little what's old is new again, but putting a twist on it. So I liked it. The one thing with the Tony Schiavone Cody interview, I really liked the idea of it. The background, like the street noise, was kind of loud. Like it was almost like kind of hard to hear him a little bit. So that's all I would have fixed. But I really liked how they're trying to be different and present, angles and storylines and interviews, things we've seen forever, in a different way. And we'll get to the contract signing. I thought they did that great there too.
We also had backstage Jon Moxley going into Tony Khan's office and getting the audio from behind closed doors.
Again,
what do you think of that? Yeah, I mean, this confrontation.
And it was different. They were able to get away with so much because we don't know. Tony didn't have to look silly or stupid because he's not a worker. And you always run the risk when you don't use worker, when you have non-workers in these roles where they're being threatened and they've got to feign away or sell, and it looks terrible usually, right? Here, this was super creative to make us use our own imaginations, our own minds, as to what we visually could see in our own minds as to what was happening behind those closed doors, which I thought gave it even more legs and more intensity.
I did like how it was shot and all that. I thought the idea of making it a lights out match that doesn't count, it just made no sense to me.
Yeah.
Why are they already doing that? Like back in the day, a lights out match, that's the culmination when you have this long feud that it always ends in a DQ or non-finish, so you have to have this lights out match where it's non-sanctioned.
Don't you think, though, they do it because the wins and losses matter so much that...
So anytime you don't want someone's, a win and loss to go on someone's record, you make it a lights out match?
If this is realistic, then you're also admitting and taping your hand that you're worried that you might lose that match, hence why you're requesting it, right?
Yeah, and all it does is add a loss to one of their records and a win. It's not like, both of them have losses.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of even though AEW, to their credit, tried. I agree with what Matt said. I like the fact that it makes you use your own imagination. Maybe Moxley had Tony Khan pinned up against the wall. We don't know what it was. Your imagination, it can run wild. I like that. But yeah, I've never been a fan of the unsanctioned thing because at the end of the day, Tony Khan and AEW are still giving them the TV and pay-per-view time. They're still, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense that, if you truly want unsanctioned, make them go do it in a building that you're not running the show in. I don't know.
Maybe I'm lazy with my disbelief. You know what I mean, Justin? Maybe I'm super lazy with my suspension of disbelief, where I just categorize this crap as a hardcore match, anything goes match, no DQ match kind of a thing. And I kind of lump it all together. I'm like, all right, so this is a match where they can kill each other. Cool. I'll watch.
Yeah, but they have the ladder matches. They had the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, and that's a no DQ match essentially, right? And that counts towards their record.
Don't mistake me, Matt. I'm still interested to see the chaos that's going to be, but the whole terms of unsanctioned just make no sense.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't give it any thought. I should, but I'm just being honest.
Yeah, exactly. And I think fans of AEW right now are very forgiving. They're not going to call stuff out. I think that's what I'm guilty of here.
They have that new car smell still.
Yeah, but someone saying it fits his character. So what? All his matches are going to be unsanctioned, don't count towards his win and loss record. There's no reason this was should be made a lights out match already. They just did it with Jon Moxley just a few months ago in his match with Joey Janela, doing it twice with the same wrestler. Yeah. Just because Moxley's unpredictable again, what does that mean? Then all of his matches should be unsanctioned, and he can never get a title shot. It makes no sense.
Yeah. I liked the behind closed doors angle. It reminded me of my beloved Wrestling with Shadows and Brett confronting Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And what I liked about it too is they don't have the camera inside. That's what WWE would do, right? You would have the camera inside, and Tony Khan would be watching the monitor sideways, and you know what I mean. So
there was a time for a hot minute when I was with WWE that they actually gave that thought it was like a 6-month experiment where the cameras wouldn't be in that situation. The camera would be all ECW cam and running in there to catch the little bit of the last part of that action. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't put the camera. These cameras weren't everywhere. They purposely tried to like think about that. I don't know why they stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having the cameras perfectly set up inside like a urinal, and there was a fight breaking out in the bathroom, and like, how the hell did the camera get in there? What the hell?
Right,
GTV.
Right. Remember when AJ Styles threw Shane through the car window, and there was a camera inside the car window, inside the car?
Yeah.
So I like how it looked realistic.
Matt, wasn't there a period for TNA, like especially like when Sting and Hogan were doing stuff, weren't they trying to do the same thing backstage? They're trying to like have the camera peek through the blinds of a window of an office.
Yes, I was guilty of a few of those.
Yeah, I know you were.
You remember that time they had Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, and only Hogan could see the Warrior, and Warrior was in the mirror.
Who could forget?
Oh God! Anyway.
So this was Moxley's night tonight, I thought. I mean, they finally let him do what we've been talking about. They put him out there with the mic. They gave him this killer intro to the show.
Yes.
This was good. This is the guy I think we've been wanting to see. We opened with the first match of the evening, Hangman Adam Page versus Sammy Guevara tonight. Yeah. Page picking up a win. What do you think of this, Matt? What do you think about Hangman's momentum at this point?
I think it could have just been considered a vanilla match, if you will, at first. Not because of either of those two, but because, if anything, Sammy Guevara is the one that was more built up, I would argue.
Yeah, he's hotter now.
Into this, right? But I thought after the match was over, we're talking characters here, fans. We're not talking about the match and the technique and the psychology. I'm not talking about any of that. That was a great match. Good finish, too. But, I mean, after the match, as far as character development goes, I liked him getting on the mic.
Yeah.
He missed his opportunity, though, to put the mic out to the crowd while they were actually chanting real cowboy shit.
Yeah,
right.
He held his mic up like 20 seconds after that shit died. But nonetheless, they came with him, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me that this is the first time that Paige has gotten a chance to speak on either TV or pay-per-view. You know, I'm not talking about the online stuff.
No.
So I thought it made him look important. I wouldn't have beaten Sammy Guevara already. The Inner Circle's kind of hot. It's still new. There's a bunch of people you could beat, but Paige shouldn't have lost. He needed the win.
You don't think it's okay that the hyena of the group, you know, the laughing hyena, they just want to pop in the freaking face, takes an L here of the group? He's not a big guy of the group.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it really hurts him. It's just like when the NWO formed. You don't want to beat Hall or X-Pac even right away.
X-Pac is what I would say, actually.
Yeah. You want to wait,
punch in the face because he annoys you so much. Even during the contract signing when Dustin's arm got slammed in the door. Look at Guevara in the background. You still want to buy back all that and punch him in the face again.
Did you see their promo at Bellator?
No.
And it was Guevara, Ortiz, and Santana. They were interviewed by the MMA announcer, and they were talking about Jake Hager fighting that night last Friday. This was last Friday, and it was. I thought it was embarrassing. They were annoying heels, but it was one of those that I think a non-wrestling fan would look at and just be like, "Wow, this is just stupid." But did you see it, Justin?
The promo for Bellator? No, I didn't. But I heard about it, and what I heard is similar to what you said. It kind of like, to the non-pro wrestling fans, you're kind of like, who's this little kid that's being annoying?
Yeah.
So we got Shanna versus Hikaru Shida tonight. The only women's match on the card. With Hikaru Shida picking up a win via pinfall. What'd you think of this match, Matt?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. This is something it's something cool that AEW does, but in this sense, for me at least, it hurts them. Simultaneous to this, I think, was right about when the Finn Balor stuff was happening on NXT, which we'll talk about. Here's what I found in the 5 weeks of these two shows going head to head. If NXT is putting out something that's very interesting to me, and while there's a match going on, a match, not a promo, but a match for AEW, I'm going to watch NXT because I found that AEW will give me that 60-second highlight reel at the end of a match. Well, they'll show me the 9 or 10 high spots of how the match went. And unless it's two characters that I really, really care about, which for these ladies, I don't.
Yeah.
I was watching
where's the build, Ben?
I was watching NXT, so then I could just turn and flip over to AEW, and I would just see. I could basically see the summary of what the match, what the story was, and that's what happened here, and it's happened before. So just for me, going head to head, if I'm only watching one screen, I don't have multiple devices out. That's the one thing that AEW does. While cool, it hurts them in somebody like me. So.
This is exactly it. NXT is giving women's matches stories and developments. AEW just seems to be throwing the women out there.
Well, they have to because they don't have many established stars, so they got to get these women known to the audience. So, again, I agree. I felt like as far as this show went, I was probably least interested in during this part of the show. The match was fine, but these aren't stars. None of these women are stars yet, so you gotta establish them, and best way to do that is the video packages like they did with Kylie Ray and matches. So,
well. And they could both wrestle. That's why I thought having no real stakes, no real story tonight just was unfortunate. Because I thought this match was good. I thought they were both great in the ring. It had good rhythm to it. But yeah, it's like it's an exhibition at this point. And after we got this vignette for Brandi Rhodes.
Loved it.
So, Justin, give me your interpretation. Why don't you describe for the crowd what was going on in this vignette? Because I heard a lot of funny takes on Twitter.
Well, I'm not going to try to break it down frame by frame. People can watch it for themselves. But my interpretation simply was Brandi doing like a little bit of voodoo and summoning Awesome Kong to do her bidding into almost like she's gonna have Kong go out and and buy her the AEW Women's title. She's gonna have Kong go out and do the dirty work. But it had a very voodoo kind of. I loved it.
Good. Summoning Kong, yeah, I thought that's exactly what I got out of it. I've said this before. I'm not a big fan of Brandi as a heel while also being a babyface executive, because AEW, we've mentioned this, they do so many things that WWE doesn't do, and that's something that WWE does to death. And I think Brandy's a natural babyface, so you just have her be a normal person. But
I get that, and that's a great point, because she's still going to do interviews and such as the chief brand officer, so it is, but Brandy's also not. While she's a babyface because she's Cody's wife and she's beautiful and she's smart and she's an executive, when it comes into wrestling wise, she's not the best they have in the ring at all. So I think if they're committed to using her as an on-screen character, I would rather her not be just the executive that walks out. That's too much like what Stephanie does. I'd rather her just get involved in the story and then the characters. I don't know.
Why does she have to be amazing in the ring to be a babyface versus a heel?
I think she's a good babyface by on imagery standing next to Cody. I don't think she's a good babyface solo as a performer in the ring.
So then, what makes her a good heel
I think giving her some depth like this, where she's summoning Awesome Kong. I think this is just better.
Kong is. I gotcha.
I think we said it a couple weeks ago. Raj said it. AEW is not doing a great job. It's only been a few weeks, but they haven't done a great job developing characters or anything like that to this point. I think this is kind of a nice little curveball.
Tonight was a huge step in that direction.
Oh, for sure.
Took
but
five steps with one step tonight.
Yeah, but I like taking this chance with Brandi. This really caught my eye.
Cool. Yeah. We went from that to the Rock and Roll Express coming out. Bum rushed by Santana and Ortiz as Rock and Roll Express was showing off the tag team belts.
This was awesome, I thought.
Yeah.
You get the legends out there. They're clearly trying to play into the nostalgia of WCW, and you get one of the tag teams most associated with the WCW, NWA, and then you have them get their asses kicked by their current top heel tag team.
Yeah,
so
WWE, this is how it works. This is how you use these legends.
Yes,
your younger talent, not even younger talent, your talent today, current talent, over.
Right. And I don't want to be just taking shots at WWE, but if it was WWE, they would have had the Rock and Roll Express beat the hell out of Ortiz and Santana.
Put on their chest.
So TNA, WWE, let it be known that Matt Morgan is willing to come back anytime to get the shit kicked out of him by younger talent, just to pay it forward and put the younger guys over.
For that, I actually would.
Oh.
I'd pay to see Braun Strowman stuff Matt Morgan in a dumpster.
And nobody's stumping shit.
That's like I have limits. I will go through a table onto pads, perhaps.
Hey, I said Braun Strowman, not
Yeah.
Maybe Orange Cassidy.
So the Rock and Roll Express were presenting the belts, and then they got Ricky Morton got power bombed to the side through the side of the stage. It was almost exactly like the spot that Nash gave Eric Bischoff.
Yeah,
it was that stage on the side, and it looks great. You could tell it's padded. They're protecting Ricky Morton, but it looks awesome, and it got the response, and it gave Ortiz and Santana, I thought, that very unpredictable, kind of crazy, like Dudley Boy heel heat for a tag team.
That viciousness. There's no low. They won't. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be shocked if they have a spot in the match between the Bucks and those guys at the pay-per-view. I mean, Baltimore, that's an old the NWA ran as north as Baltimore, so I wouldn't be surprised if they had them there at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from Ricky Morton to Rick and Morty, the best friends coming out in a move of corporate synergy, dressed as the popular cartoon characters, to take on QT Marshall, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds. Matt,
did you notice the ring too? They had the ring, the turnbuckle had
the Rick and Morty ring posts.
Yeah.
Matt, big Rick and Morty fan?
I don't even know who Rick and Morty is.
Just waiting for that. Just waiting to have to explain it. It's on Adult Swim. It's very popular. It's kind of like Back to the Future on crack.
Why were they dressed like this though?
That's Rick and Morty, right?
Yeah, it's exceptionally popular amongst the AEW target demographic, and I like Rick and Morty. I like AEW, but let me tell you, if you think AEW fans are obnoxious, Rick and Morty fans are next level obnoxious. So that was very interesting that they were crossing over the two fan bases tonight. I'm sure it works though for a certain segment of the audience.
Yeah, I think it's cool to reach that demo, but also try to explain it to the people that have no idea who these guys are. Not like a long drawn out thing, but Excalibur just say, they're dressed as Rick and Morty, from Adult Swim. My kids watch that show. Maybe not my kids, but something.
Why okay, fans? I'm not going to say Stone Cold. I'm not going to say The Rock. Okay, fill in the blank for any WWE superstar with this. Why would they dress up as a different character?
Yeah, especially Orange Cassidy. That was the one where I was like, why is he in this? He is so over as himself.
Don't you think once you do that, you can't really, it's hard to come back from that and being taken serious? No?
Yeah,
it is Halloween.
Are you not considered a kid at that point?
Well, it is Halloween. They're not really a push tag team,
Okay.
I don't know. It's Halloween. I mean, they've done that. Roddy Piper dressed like Superman one time on Piper's Pit back in the day.
Oh, now we're digging, Raj, for the fence here.
No, they've done Divas costume matches in the past. I mean, they've had
Divas who were treated terribly, and obviously the garnish of the towards compared to the stake being the men's wrestlers back then. If you remember, they were doing pillow fights. So using that as an example, terrible. Come on, but like a real decent wrestler on, SmackDown or Raw. I don't know.
Well, let me ask, Matt, did you ever get caught up in the web of corporate synergy? Did you ever get roped into one of these in TNA or in WWE? Like a trick-or-treat fight or,
No, thank God. No Thanksgiving, stupid food fight. No.
Well, it's good, But for some guys that aren't getting on TV, Heath Slater's more than willing to go out there and do the 4th of July barbecue bash or whatever dumb gimmick they have. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. They look like little boys.
This was AEW's version of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson getting a pumpkin on their head.
Yes.
Oh, are we going to get a trick-or-treat fight tomorrow from Saudi Arabia? That'll be interesting.
I doubt it. Is Halloween a thing in Saudi Arabia? I don't think so.
I don't know. So Best Friends and Orange Cassidy won. After that, Chris Jericho, coming out in the Halloween spirit, had a purple jacket with pumpkins all over it, and he sat there for the contract signing. Cody getting out of the limo, they shook hands. They faced off. They both signed it. And you think, wow, this was so peaceful, but it turns out out back, Sammy Guevara hijacking the feed. They're beating up Dustin, and Jake Hager slamming his arm in a door. Cody running to help his brother along with MJF. And this was the setup for their match November 9th at Full Gear. They signed the contract. What did you make of this face-off, Matt, versus the way the WWE usually does these things?
I liked it, and I liked the digs he was taking at Cody during it, and Cody's reactions to them. He wasn't over the top and outlandish, and anytime Jericho would take a little shot at him or something like that, he would try to show that he was trying to show his composure and not blow up about it. If you go back and watch his facials, Cody, the little subtleties. And then obviously the hook was the ending of this, right? Dustin getting his arm slammed in the car, and more importantly, the heels I thought looked cool, all being together and getting into the vehicle together. Jericho chilling and lighting up a cigar on the way out. The total penguin from Batman, dude. Like, what a little dick. You know what I mean? Just great heat all around. I thought I liked it a lot.
I thought as far as character development and segments, tonight's AEW had the best of any wrestling show in a long time. I'm including Raw and
Really?
SmackDown.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Between this, the Rock and Roll Express, the Jon Moxley promo. Gosh, sorry, I got lost there for a second. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
I feel like we got a layer. I feel like almost for every character, every segment tonight. Almost, I feel like we got an extra layer. In some cases, 2 layers towards some of these personas and who they are and why we should care about them.
Yeah, and I loved how they did everything different that they don't always do. They did the contract signing at the top of the ramp. Yeah. They did. They never touched. They shook hands, but they never got physical. Cody and Jericho. Every contract signing usually ends up with them, brawling or fighting or being separated.
They actually had somebody from the legal department. She's a legit part of the legal department. That's having a lawyer there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. So I loved everything about it. I liked the backstage. I loved Jericho saying, after they attacked Dustin, slammed his hand in a limo, Cody running the back, and then Jericho saying, you might want to take him to the hospital. Just something so nonchalant. Jericho is just he is just so invaluable to this company right now. He should not lose to Cody. He should hold on to that title for a while.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't remember which match it was during, but it happened at this point. I think we have to shout it out that Pot Committed was used, I think, by Excalibur on the AEW commentary.
Yeah, during the women's match.
Yeah. So,
Justin, you're watching our show and stealing our Justin LaBar stuff.
There you have it. I mean,
they can make the checkout. It's spelled LABAR.
Twitter was blowing up during that. So tonight, want to talk about this Kenny Omega tonight because a lot of people, myself included, didn't quite understand at first what was going on. Teaming with the Young Bucks, but first I feel like I must mention Kip Sabian teaming with Angelico and Jack Evans, who have a name now as a team, not the Mocap Boys, which I believe Raj suggested a while back.
For a couple of weeks.
Well, not the Highlighters, but the Hybrid 2. Have they? This is the first time on TV they've wrestled as that, isn't it?
Oh, maybe I saw it on Dark. I could have sworn a couple of weeks ago it started with that name.
The Hybrid. Is the Hybrid squared or just the Hybrid 2?
Is it 2.0?
I just say Hybrid 2, I thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm forgetting. I thought it was 2.0, and he said 2, but I thought it was supposed to be 2.0. But yeah, Angelico and Jack Evans.
Is it Angelico, not Angelico?
Angelico.
Interesting.
I'm sure you can say it both ways, but who cares? Move it along.
It's important to pronounce. We had in the comments. Glenn doesn't even know how to pronounce Angelico.
Jim Neidhart, right?
Look at how my last name. Do I even say my own last name the same time every time on this podcast?
No.
I'm going to do a mashup reel of Steen, Stein. I don't care.
That is pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Matt Morgan.
Sounds a little more exotic. So Kenny Omega got the 8-bit entrance here. So Kenny has an alternate personality that's like a panda?
I'm completely lost, and I just offended this show for having cool character development. I was lost on this completely, and I felt very out of touch. I felt very old all of a sudden. Maybe I was missing something cool here. I don't know. What was this?
It's some video game called Undertale. Again, it's so underground.
I play video games. I never heard of it.
I'd never heard of it either. I mean, I tweeted out. I was like, what is this long-ass video promo? I don't get it. And people are like, oh, it's Undertale, you idiot.
Did a lot of people say that?
No, it was like 2 people. On Twitter. There's some people who think that because they know a video game that that's everyone else does. But again, this is one of those things. I think Excalibur should be the guy that kind of just tells people, fans, oh, Undertale, or Undertale fans are gonna love that. Something where then people watching at home who have no idea what Undertale is know that it's a video game thing.
Yeah. Yep.
It's an independent game. It's a role-playing game released independently in 2015.
Even worse. That's even less people you're going to reach with this. Well, gamers, especially gamers, love AEW. Okay, I'm a gamer too. I've never heard of this game.
Yeah, at least the Young Bucks. I mean, again, I think it's all just Halloween. I don't think Omega is going to be dressing up like something every week.
I don't either, but it's still an opportunity to do something with the show. And Kenny Omega, again, I go back to saying I thought they were going to build this company around that dude.
Mm-hmm.
I really did.
So much so, I thought tonight at first, well, they're building it around him so much that he's going to have an alternate personality so they can book him twice as much. It's like, this is kind of brilliant.
Okay, well, Kenny Omega is very well known with the video game community. Like Definitely. He's a lot of those guys that don't know any wrestlers. They know Kenny Omega, so it's a little Halloween shout out to them. He dresses like video game characters all the time. It's Halloween. So the Young Bucks, is that Street Fighter or is that Double Dragon?
It was Street Fighter.
Okay. How old is Kenny Omega?
I want to say 34.
I think he's like 36, 37.
He's 36.
Okay.
I just can't imagine. I'm not doing this not to take a shot or sound cool guy here, but I just can't imagine myself dressing up as a video game character and then going to wrestle.
Hey, not even Zangief?
I would be so into I'm on TV. This is an opportunity for me to continue to grow my brand or get me over a little bit more somehow, some way. In the minutes that I'm being given on TV.
Especially when you're getting ready to be in an unsanctioned match.
It's not like jokey haha. No, you're right.
Yeah, you don't look like the other guy. The other guy looks like he's about to stab somebody.
That's what shows up. You're right. He's going to eat his head off. Yes.
Right, and Omega's doing cosplay. Like what what's happening here?
Yes. Yeah. I think, and this is that's exactly it. Undertale sold million of copies. It's very popular. Someone gave it to the Pope.
I guarantee you
give it to the Pope.
I guarantee you that was a waste.
I'm sorry. Someone give it to the Pope.
I guarantee you the Pope did something with it. Playing it.
Matt, I'm just saying, shave that beard. You could be Hagar from Final Fight for Halloween. That
is pretty sweet. That's a pretty easy costume.
That's cool.
Good Capcom throwback, right? Get a mohawk, get some Zangief action going on. Make it all work. No, I mean, I think it's one thing to have fun with it, but yeah, it's. I mean, we've been accused of it in this podcast. When you make references that are so cool, nobody gets them. You don't want to have to be sitting there Googling to be in on it.
Sadly, our references are mostly to stuff like Perfect Strangers, things like that. Valky.
Yeah. So Kenny and the Bucks.
We've never used Perfect Strangers.
I got to throw it in somewhere now.
Hey, Valky.
What a country! Yeah, or no, that's something else.
That's Yakov Smirnoff. Valky is like the prototype for a foreign babyface heel or babyface wrestler, right? You have a babyface. Valky is perfect.
One of the biggest babyfaces in our childhood, guys. Yeah, Valky definitely was the top 20.
Do more of that. The Bucks and Kenny got a pretty easy win there. The Librarians came out. Oh, I felt so bad for this. Peter Avalon, Leva Bates, started cutting a promo, interrupted by Moxley, who hit a DDT on Avalon, kicked him out of the ring, and then had his moment, talking right to the camera, what we've been waiting for, commanding the attention of the arena and the ring, and a good million viewers at home, probably, with the World Series on. Maybe. Matt, what did you think of this promo?
This was great, and I hate to say it, this was good use of Peter Avalon as well. This was getting the crowd at their most, bottom. Get him. So I was just reading that. You got the crowd so low and so annoyed that they're gonna have to see the Librarians. This is a perfect time to bring the ass kicker out. They used to do it with Stone Cold all the time, and just lay him out and then cut that. I thought it was a world beater promo for sure. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was killer. Jon Moxley showed intensity. He just seemed like a star. Like that's what we've been saying has been missing these weeks, is him not being able to get that mic time when he's so damn good at it. And he just brought it in with this one. And I agree. I felt like to Justin's point, by not having Omega come across as serious on this episode, I think was a little bit of a miss, but they do have another week.
Yeah, he was Dean Ambrose on WWE for 7.5 years, or 7 years, and easily the last 3 to 4 years of Dean Ambrose, post Shield, was just blah. In this 5 minutes, as Jon Moxley on AEW looking directly into this camera, he made those 4 years in WWE, those last 4 years, just look absolutely foolish. He really, really highlighted it. It's like, how hard would it have been to let this guy go say this and put him in this kind of situation with a live mic? This was a home run.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we had the main event tonight. SCU versus the Lucha Brothers in the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Private Party sitting ringside. Dark Order watching backstage.
Cared absolutely nobody.
They had about 15 minutes. This match, it went about 14. We got a very short celebration as the match ended. It did end with that inside cradle. Scorpio Sky hitting that inside cradle for the 1-2-3. Before that, great spots in this. Went out into the ringside area. Matt, what'd you think of this as terms of, this was the ultimate AEW tag team match, right? We've seen this tournament, and here we've got your top guys.
This was better than just good spots in the match. Come on, Glenn.
It was great.
This was good storytelling in there. This was good psychology they used. The psychology of this build, this crescendo of SCU and how they got here. The injury, you got to go back to when Daniels got taken out, right? This was good storytelling. This was good writing here. Think about it. You know what I mean? This was a legitimate angle that started a few weeks back with this injury angle, right? With Daniels being out, and it crescendoed in through this tournament where they won a couple matches that I did not foresee them winning, right? And then, boom, they win the tournament. They win the championships. Everybody's behind them. I thought it was a cool finish out of nowhere, very believable, and greatly executed match. Again, great ring psychology. I'll reiterate one more time. It was I thought this was a good exclamation mark on a fantastic show. Honestly, I'm going to say this, other than its opening week, this, I thought, has been the best AEW Dynamite, top to bottom.
I thought so, too. I know a lot of people out there were saying that they didn't feel it as much as other weeks, but I thought this was the best one. This SCU winning was a surprise. I thought it was going to be Pentagon and it's always been Phoenix, but they're pronouncing it Phoenix tonight. Do you notice
Why?
that?
No.
We just can't win.
Right. So I was actually surprised, but you say, with this you have two strong tag team feuds with the Young Bucks and Ortiz and Santana, and then SCU with the Lucha Brothers, and I'm sure the Lucha House Party is looking at the Lucha Brothers and they're thinking, "Damn, what are we doing?"
Dude, the Lucha Brothers Lucha House Party is good when they let them go. They are, but come on, Lucha Brothers would wrestle circles around them.
I bet you Lucha House Party would, because Grand Metalik, if you see him outside of WWE, he is fantastic.
That's how I was actually using my example out of the three groups. I always thought was kind of the weak of the three. No?
In the ring?
Yeah. From me being entertained by him, yes.
I would say...
Not that he's bad, I'm saying of the three.
Right.
Because what's the smallest one's name again?
Kalisto. I'm a big Lince Dorado fan. I think Lince Dorado.
Lince Dorado is from here. He's from Central Florida. He's awesome. So
he is fantastic.
But so is the other one you just said.
Kalisto.
When he was by himself, you remember when he first came up, dude? That was supposed to be the next Ray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They screwed him. He did not mess any of that up. They did. That dude is good, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that tag match.
Yeah.
The Lucha Brothers to me, obviously they can wrestle the style of entertaining. To me, then again, Pentagon.
He's a single main eventer, dude. I'm sorry, he is good.
And I have a special spot in my wrestling heart for Pentagon because the first time I ever got to see him in person was at Lucha Underground, and I don't know if you guys ever got to go out to LA to do that. It was in a very, very, very small, kind of like what the NWA, what they're doing with the NWA thing. It was in a very small soundstage, and I will say this as somebody who had has watched a lot of wrestling, been around in different capacities. I felt it. There was one point, he scared me. I was like, this guy is the character was just so real. So there's so many layers to it, and from that point on, he's fascinating to watch. The imagery, the imagery when you look at him, it's fascinating.
A little bit of face paint under his mat, like right here. Even I don't know, it does something. It's different.
Yeah, he looks like a star.
It was season 2. It was a season 2 finale, Lucha Underground, and he fought into the crowd. I don't remember who, but he was maybe within 10 feet of me, and he just did that. He did that old fashioned thing. He made eye contact with me, and I was like, I felt it. I was like, this dude, he's legit.
That's cool.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
So a hell of a night tonight for AEW. Let's talk about NXT.
Yeah, and I know people like both NXT and AEW they're gonna be down in the ratings tonight. They're up against the World Series Game 7. They're gonna be down quite a bit. So I know there's gonna be people out there tomorrow, tweeting how the audience is dropping and everyone's tuning out. But
who cares? We give our opinion on a show that we liked.
Yeah, if you
ratings did not affect if I enjoy the show or not.
Yeah, so this was my favorite of both shows since they started.
Yeah, they did not give up or ease off the gas tonight, even in the face of the World Series. We opened with pop singer Poppy performing on NXT as Io Shirai entered the ring and had a match against Candice LeRae. Mm-hmm. Io Shirai picking up a win here. I have to say, I think I give this match the edge over Paige and Guevara. Like, I was watching both of them. I thought this women's match was absolutely fantastic.
It was. It's crazy good, actually.
Some blood, too.
Yeah.
Okay, because he cut that promo at the end, he brought me way more into it, I guess. But just bell to bell, I think you could be right. Can't believe I'm saying that, but I think you could be right.
Yeah, and I feel like they're both more established in NXT than Paige. Not Paige for sure, but Guevara is still kind of new. He's just been getting the push the last month, and this felt like two of the biggest women names in NXT.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the musical performance to start?
Cool, different.
I thought it was a different. Yeah. Different way.
I like anytime they try something different because they've been using the same form, and not necessarily NXT, but Raw and SmackDown just look the same for so long that anything different I'm always welcome to. And having a live musical performance as a ring entrance, not doing a separate performance, I think is great.
Is that the band that actually does music? Shirai's music?
Because I don't listen to her friggin' entrance music in my car. I have no idea.
She did a takeover theme a while back, I believe.
I don't want to keep sounding old, but is she fairly popular? I'd never heard of her before.
I had heard one song by her a few years ago. I guess she's popular on YouTube. She's got like 190,000 followers on Twitter. So that's
not much for her.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it has more than that.
Yeah.
But then again,
how would you compare this? Wait, you guys didn't compare this to Fred Durst rolling?
But Fred Durst.
Biscuits at the top of their game, all right?
Yeah, Limp Bizkit. Yeah, I mean, they were a big deal.
The best ones. That him and Kid Rock as well.
Yes.
Those are the coolest entrances ever.
I was at Mania 17 when you hear My Way and they're showing that Rock and Stone Cold promo. I was in the Astrodome for that, man. That gets you juiced up.
3
I want
for me.
Yeah,
that the best of all time. That was the best video package for a WrestleMania ever.
I want Sacrifice is number 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want proof from someone that Justin LaBar and Fred Durst were in the same place at the same time. Find me proof on the network.
Matt, did you mean Sacrifice, or did you see the Lonely Road of Faith? That one?
Kid Rock, yeah.
Kid Rock. They did. It's amazing. Go on YouTube. You'll know it as soon as it starts playing. It is an awesome WWF video package. I think it was just random. It wasn't to build him.
It was for, and I'm a Kid Rock aficionado, so I know this. It was for the WWE On Demand 24/7 channel.
I'm
pretty sure.
It was awesome. You got it. If you haven't checked it out, Lonely Road of Faith, WWF, check. It's amazing.
So Poppy, I thought the masks that her backing band wears are hella creepy. Thought that was good for Halloween. But yeah, Io Shirai winning in this match over Candice LeRae. Io attacking Candice after Rhea Ripley comes out, makes the save, starts attacking Shirai.
I like her.
Yeah, this was good storytelling. This build tonight, they built perfectly towards this WarGames match that they announced later in the night.
Rhea Ripley's a stud.
And I like that they're not getting to Rhea Ripley getting a title shot yet. They're going to give it a little more time by having this WarGames match in there.
Get her steamed up a little bit more. But she's got it.
Yeah. Finn Balor came out, cut a big promo, talked about his loss to The Fiend, talked about losing to The Fiend because he got a new mask. Balor says, well, now he's taken off his mask, and he's the hottest thing in the business. He talked about everyone's opinions. The Office, the boys in the back, the Twitter tough guys. I personally felt called out by that one. And more. He doesn't watch this business. The business watches him. He had some words for Johnny Gargano saying he's the heart of NXT. And it looks like they're setting these two up for a one-on-one match at the next TakeOver.
This was the highlight of NXT for me.
Same here. I was just thinking, like, could you imagine if WWE let Finn cut this kind of promo years ago, on Raw or SmackDown, how much bigger of a star he would have been instead of the flipping his collar up and just smiling all the time. I mean, He came across as such a big deal here, and he delivered it well. He looked the part. I thought it was great.
I even if he did, I still would hold out for his character. What do you call it? The demon.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem that's always been is that the demon is fascinating. He's visually exciting. They change his music up. He's crawling to the ring.
But he can't cut the promo.
Well, but the thing is, they only brought the demon out for the special matches. The moment they start doing that, and then when he's the demon one night, and then the next night he's back to little old Finn Balor. Finn Balor was boring. Finn Balor was nothing. Finn Balor was not a threat. He's smiling. He's flicking the collar. This was a Finn Balor I could get behind. Or not even get behind. This is a Finn Balor I'm interested in.
You would take this Finn Balor over Demon Finn Balor, the one you saw tonight?
No, I take this Finn Balor over the babyface Finn Balor.
Demon Balor. I got you, but I'm asking you that question, guys. You guys are saying how much you love it.
But you can't do I don't think he can do the demon every night.
Take the demon. Yes, he can, and he needs to.
Yeah, like the Fiend is not going to.
The damn excuse that he can't face it. Yes, you can. It's WWE. They got millions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yes, they can.
To your point, Matt, how many time? Yeah, but how many promos is Brock Lesnar cutting? You could have the demon character and not doing promos. And you'd make a ton marketing that character.
That gimmick was that character was cool as hell. Do you remember when that first came out, guys? We said that was the next huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a shout. Sorry,
Fiend type of big is right. Like the Fiend is right now. Like that. This was supposed to be like that.
And let's get a shout. I thought this was a great touch. I was curious what it was going to be. Finn comes out, and just when everybody's going to do the arms up, and then they spotlight on him, and they drown out the crowd in blackness, so they can't do the whole babyface entrance. I thought that was a great touch for this heel Finn Balor.
Yeah. Cool.
I liked it. He came across as a superstar.
Yeah, I think maybe this is how they differentiated. I mean, this is how we get a break from the demon for a while, and they make it different. But I thought this was great tonight.
Get a break from the demon. He has not been the demon in 50 years.
No, but what I'm saying is we're always waiting for that. Babyface Finn Balor, we're always waiting for
you're saying. I got you.
Yeah. In fact, if he really wants to pull a swerve, get his brother or someone that looks kind of like him to come out as the demon, then have Finn as himself come out and kick the shit out of the demon.
Ew, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get rid of it. And how do you know he has a brother?
He does have a brother. But I'm saying just get someone who...
How do you know that?
His Instagram, his Twitter.
Clan. Kill.
AEW special.
You freaking stalker.
Larissa, lock the windows.
This isn't a secret. Everybody knows Finn has a brother.
I really hope we're all in the same place for WrestleMania week.
Yeah.
Just saying. Anyhow, this was great tonight. Bronson Reed versus Shane Thorne.
What do y'all think of Shane Thorne, real quick?
Yeah.
I think he needs work, but he kind of has a good look and everything. He just needs work, but I think he looks more like a star than that Bronson Reed guy.
Yeah, he looks like a call up, right? Somebody that Vince you could see calling up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once he gets better, but physically,
Yeah, there's something about him that comes across as a little bland. If he can work on that, I think
they both come across as bland.
Yeah. I did. This was of both shows. This was the match I did not give any two shits about.
Bronson comes off as like a Keith Lee light.
Good call.
Would you rate this lower than the women's match on AEW?
Yeah.
For your care involved? Okay.
Yeah.
Women's match, I mean, was good. We just didn't have.
We didn't care about the characters.
Yeah. But this was just there, and I don't think dynamic. I just don't think it was a dynamic match to watch either. But let's talk about the women's tag team title match. This.
Oh, by the way, Bronson Reed got the win.
Oh yes.
It's kind of a squash almost.
For everyone keeping score at home. Do people keep score at home? Like, remember when you go to the baseball game with your dad and he keeps stats during the game?
AEW.
Next match, please.
Just saying.
AEW, they keep track. On
Yes,
their
but
website.
no, the fans don't. I've never understood that with baseball, why people do that. Anyhow, women's tag team title match. This might have been this might have been the match of the night for me overall. Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox versus the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka for the women's tag team titles.
This is tough because I felt the same thing. I was like, is this my... Because AEW crushed it tonight, I thought, all the way around, right? Great matches. The tag match at the end was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, guys, I'm going to put you all on the spot. You have to pick one of these two tags. The championship match on AEW or this women's tag. Which one was your favorite? You have to pick one.
For me, it was the AEW because that was a lot more unpredictable. I thought this, you knew going in, Kabuki Warriors were going to win. You know, it was just how long it takes to get there. I mean, it was a really good match, but and it actually kind of surprised me because the Kabuki Warriors took a lot of this match, and usually when that happens, that means they're losing.
Well, now they're all going to cheat on their answers, Raj. I just wanted a quick answer. They're all going to be like now brainwashed and change their answer. Justin, what was your answer?
I say the AEW because of the unpredictability, but I love the Kabuki Warriors heel presentation.
Glenn?
I thought this tonight, it just bell to bell, I enjoyed this more.
Same here, and that's saying something because I really love the ending of that. I love that championship win by Kazarian, especially for personal reasons as well, right? I really love that match.
Yeah.
But this match from bell to bell, you're right.
Proper amount of time.
Slightly more.
Got the right amount of time. Had a really good rhythm going with it.
Frigging nasty.
Yeah.
You can see why Asuka was in NXT so long because she brings these women up, you know, and Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai never look better. I mean, they look
ever. Yeah.
The Green Mist made an appearance in the face of Dakota Kai.
And she hit her in the face. She didn't miss at first.
Yeah. Insane elbow for Kairi to get the pin to retain. And then afterwards, we had Marina Shafir, Jessamine Duke, Shayna Baszler come out. After Asuka and Kairi exited, they came out and attacked. We had Bianca Belair came out, Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley. Everyone was getting into it. William Regal then appears and says there's only one solution for this: WarGames. Crowd goes apeshit. More brawling as the sides are separated. We go to commercial, so we're gonna have the first women's WarGames match coming up at TakeOver.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Did you guys like the last WarGames though? Right.
Last one wasn't as good.
It was too long. Like it's like they're trying to make it too epic by having it go an hour, and it just got kind of old.
Don't you remember at the very end of the last WarGames, it was like after like a half hour or so, then they all four got up slowly and then faced off again.
The comic book pose that you hated.
So I don't know. Being it's the first female one, right? That's pretty cool. But hopefully it's not like the last one, right? It doesn't go too long and everybody gets over. There should be an opportunity for every one of them to get over in this.
Well, it sounds like they're doing 2 WarGames this year.
Yeah.
Based on that last promo. Well, Tommaso Ciampa said he was
Going to war.
Yeah, going to war, and he said Goldie has to, wait for a bit. So real quick, the WarGames match right now, it looks like it is Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, Io Shirai, and Bianca Belair against Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, and they didn't announce the 5th partner. I was thinking it was going to be Mia Yim, but they didn't announce it, so maybe it's a surprise. Maybe someone coming back. I don't know.
Did you hear all those names you just threw out there? Have you ever heard a more contrasting list of names in your life? More bizarre names.
Io Shirai and Jessamine Duke in the same match.
Right? Yeah.
But they're all, I mean, okay, so isn't it funny that Jessamine and Marina are kind of the lowest on the ladder there? But you look at that and, man, this women's division is so freaking stacked in NXT right now.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it will be nice, though, kind of predicting this WarGames pay-per-view is that you're going to have these 2 WarGames matches And so obviously the NXT World Title with Adam Cole won't be on the line. You know, they're going to put that off. It's going to allow for a highlight of what you assume is going to be Finn versus Gargano. It's going to allow this singles grudge match with no title to stand out more because there's going to have to be a singles titles match.
That's true.
You don't think Undisputed Era is going to put it all on the line?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think so, but it would be nice to give it. It would be kind of cool to give it some stakes.
Yeah. Tyler Bate versus Cameron Grimes.
Awesome. Love Tyler Bate.
Yeah.
Killian Dane had a distraction at ringside. Grimes took advantage of this, nailed the cave-in double stomp for the pin and the win. Man, they're keeping these storylines going. You know, it's this is what I feel like lacking with AEW right now. Is, I mean, we've kind of got these, but it's so pay-per-view centric.
Why do they keep beating him though?
Oh, with Tyler.
Yeah.
This is
this is the ultimate baby face, man. I don't get it. Fans love him. It's not just in England either. Fans love him.
Yeah.
It's clear they see something in Cameron Grimes. I mean, he's been getting.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
And then the Undisputed Era versus Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. So Riddle and Lee taking on NXT Tag Team Champions Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish of the Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era getting involved in this at the end with everyone coming out, them winning. But after Tommaso Ciampa coming out to a huge pop and, setting up a match at WarGames.
Yeah. Go ahead, Justin.
I was just gonna say. I mean, again, I'll watch this WarGames match. I don't know. It's just kind of anticlimactic end to me. I don't know. Maybe I just had high hopes or high expectations, but this just didn't. You know, side by side, I'm looking at this tag match over to the tag team finals of AEW side by side. Yeah, Ciampa comes out, but I don't know. This didn't really get me up and geeked and excited for next week.
The setup of it was cool. Ciampa out there cutting that promo was cool. And again, the setup of this WarGames is cool. The WarGames itself will not be cool. I don't care to watch. I don't care if I see it or not. I don't like 8-man tags. I'm not interested in them.
Yeah, the first four, these used to be awesome back in the day in WCW. Remember when Sid Vicious power bombing Brian Pillman through the, over the roof, and the Dangerous Alliance. If you haven't seen that match, you should go watch that, the Dangerous Alliance WarGames match. But, they did leave it open for a surprise because they got the Undisputed Era with 4 people. They didn't, name the fourth, who the team is going to be. It's clearly going to be Ciampa, not Gargano.
Keith Lee and Riddle.
Keith Lee, Riddle, and so I guess the fourth, maybe Velveteen Dream.
Makes more sense.
If he's able to come back by then.
Listen, when we were kids in the 80s, you remember Survivor Series would come, and we kind of cared, I did, about every team. And the reason I cared about every team was because they did not overdo or oversaturate 8-man tags whatsoever throughout the year. Whether it was Saturday wrestling or whether it was any night of the week that they used to be on, right? They never oversaturated it. We never saw it. So now when it came time, they had such a variety of cast of characters. You'd see Tugboat with Demolition. You'd never think you'd see that combo. You'd never think you'd Kerry Von Erich in the background and around a team or something like that with an Ultimate Warrior or any of these superstars collaborating. You would never, you'd think you're getting something special by seeing them just in the backstage pre-tape promo they would cut with Gene Okerlund, right? It was a big deal. Every one of them, I thought it was. I cared so much to see how would they be able to coexist. These huge stars, they're so different from one and each other. Now, when they throw these 8-man tags together, it definitely does not feel like a big deal whatsoever. To me, it makes it even less. And that's where I think we have such a huge disparity in these characters not being characters anymore.
Matt, I've been saying this for a couple of years now. Survivor Series everything you said is true. Survivor Series is such an outdated concept because a regular ending to a Raw or SmackDown is an 8-man or 10-man tag. One of the biggest thing that killed the Survivor Series concept is because you get competitive matches each week. The time you're referring to is when you'd get, a featured talent versus an enhancement talent for weeks and weeks and weeks. So, when you got all these big stars in the same ring, it mattered. It doesn't matter anymore because you have competitive matches on weekly TV. I say this all the time. I respect the tradition that Survivor Series is. Survivor Series, in my mind, is no longer part of the Big Four. My Big Four is Mania, SummerSlam, Rumble, and Money in the Bank. That's my Big Four now. Yeah. Survivor Series is an outdated concept.
Yeah, and I agree. Just looking at interest on the site, that's usually kind of where it ranks. The last time someone cared about a Survivor Series match, and I'm not talking about like Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg, which was at the Survivor Series, but right, the elimination match was that one where the Authority had to leave and Sting came in. Sting made his. That was the last time, and that was 4 years ago. And that had stakes, even though the Authority were back like a month later. But I agree with you, Justin. It's an outdated concept. Unless you found a way to create stakes or some reason why you had to win that match, no one really cares.
There's nothing like what Justin hit on, though, makes sense. Besides the wide variety of characters and how their shapes and sizes were, and how so vastly different their gimmicks were, they were built. That's the important take home here. They were built, meaning they built up records. Built up records of we never really saw them lose, and if we did, it'd be a rarity, And now all these guys trade 50-50 bookings. They don't mean worth the squat. So when you put them together, a team of four, I'm seeing a team of one, maybe two at best. Whereas back then, you'd see a team of four, you're like, holy crap, that's a mean looking four.
And it would be like a four you've never seen before. You'd have like Ultimate Warrior and the Road Warriors, with Kerry Von Erich,
the coolest ones ever.
Yeah. So
even a scrub, I don't want to say scrubs, but even like guys that we consider like lower card tier guys, like Honky Tonk Man, Greg Valentine, and like two other dudes just throw in there. Let's say, I cared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and let us not forget about Jerry Lawler's cheesy, pleasy, and fleazy.
Oh my god, that was the worst Survivor Series.
Versus Doink, Dink, Wink, and Pink.
I'd say would be the worst of that time period, but still.
Yeah.
That's when you felt like WWE was stealing your money.
But we all remember it. We all do.
I remember the gobbledygookery too, but not everything I remember is good.
Not one of you had to go, what are you talking about? You all remember.
But now, it's so common, but they've got so much TV to fill. They've got, 10 to 12 pay-per-views a year. They've got these Saudi shows. Make the comparisons like in comic books, like when Secret Wars happened the first time. You had all the Marvel heroes and villains together. And then it was so successful, Marvel said, every year we're going to do one of those. We're going to do a big story that involves everyone. Okay. It's no longer special.
Once a year, though, I was okay with that still, honestly. I still was a fan of it. Now, comparing this to WWE makes this analogy a little bit more accurate. They're doing it every week, it feels like. It doesn't mean anything, man.
Yes. For the Fantastic Four is hanging out with the X-Men all the time. Why even have two separate books?
Yeah.
I get it. So, I was going to say the first women's WarGames match, that's huge news. But tomorrow in Saudi Arabia, we're going to have the first women's wrestling match on a WWE card tomorrow during Crown Jewel, Natalya versus Lacey Evans.
I got to say it once really quick because you guys know I'm not watching the show tomorrow. I love the fact that it's Lacey. That's getting the first women's match. That's all I like about any of this.
What do you think the Saudi Arabia crowd's going to think of the sassy Southern Belle?
You're right.
Former U.S. Marine.
She's not cutting a promo tomorrow. They're not giving her a live mic.
I agree.
Yeah, nasties.
Yeah,
nasties.
If they give her a live mic, she's going to go out and say, "I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for your hospitality."
And they're making them wear bodysuits.
Yeah, it's going to be what Sasha and Alexa Bliss wore when they were in Abu Dhabi. It's progress, I guess.
What would, and I'm not trying to ask this to be funny. I'm just. What would happen? Obviously, they'd clear it with the government, I guess. What would happen? What would the crowd's reaction be if they let those girls, more so Lacey, because Natty wears a latex suit anyways. What would happen if they let Lacey come out there and all of her legs were showing the way they do normal? What would the crowd, would the crowd just be offended? What would happen?
Well, it seems like it's not necessarily so much the crowd as it is the higher ups, because the first Crown Jewel that they did, or whatever it was called, the Greatest Royal Rumble, they showed a video on the screen, and it was that one where they're all singing or something.
Yeah,
they're lip syncing, and they showed the women who were wearing kind of like their normal attire. there.
It's all the midriffs.
Yeah, and then the crowd popped, but then the government, the prince or whoever, they were furious over it, and they, in the newspaper, they actually issued an apology over it and said they're gonna, monitor this stuff more carefully. So, again, it's progress that they're having a women's match, but geez, that just shows how backwards it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
And Lana's traveling over there.
Yeah, well, she's married to Rusev. I doubt they're going to do a Lana Lashley angle.
I'm gonna say, adultery still not all that cool in Saudi Arabia. Google it. It just seemed like an interesting choice to continue if they're going to continue any of that angle. There, that seems unwise.
And when I say the things backwards over there, I'm talking about the government, not the people.
No, and I guess that's the underline. That's the final point we came to sort of reconcile watching these. Great for the Saudi fans. Questions, issues with the Saudi government and the WWE's relationship with them, but by no means do we begrudge the fans and their ability to watch wrestling live.
Yeah, I feel, it's really cool seeing how excited they are when they show, the fans in the crowd that are there to watch it. Clearly there are some there that are with the, government, giving the seats and stuff. But the ones that are fans, it's really cool that, they really are enjoying themselves.
And I'll just say this real quick about Crown Jewel tomorrow. WWE actually has an opportunity here in the Fiend Seth Rollins match. One, they can try to redeem themselves from the blunder that was the end of Hell in a Cell, and the fans clearly want the Fiend. The other thing they can do is that if they actually had a major title change on this show, that could give these Saudi shows a little bit of credibility, a little bit of, I do need to tune into this, even though it's in the middle of the day here in the U.S. or I politically don't like it. So they actually have an opportunity with this show from a booking standpoint. I'm not saying that Seth's going to lose, but they have an opportunity. Whether or not they take it, we'll see.
Well, they did have a Universal title change last year, where Brock beat Strowman to win the vacant title.
Well, it was vacant. That's my point. So we knew that we were going to have a new champion. If this happens because of all the outpouring and all the the outrage of the Hell in a Cell finish, they could redeem themselves and grab people's attention. They'll make people, even if people don't watch and they read about it, they'll probably log on the network and at least check it out after the fact.
Yeah.
And finally, I think we got one more news story.
A couple quick ones. Jordan Myles, that whole controversy, we covered it kind of in depth on Monday night. He since then issued a statement on the tweets. He apologized for it. He said he had he was kind of let rage kind of get the better of him online. He said he was emotionally charged up due to the shirt, which triggered past emotions. He said he's never going to be sorry for being himself or taking back his words. But he said the tweets were completely disrespectful and were unprofessional. So, we'll see where they go from there. And then Raw ratings. Raw was down. It drew the third lowest non-holiday audience ever, just behind two other shows that did 2.133 million viewers. The other two ones that were the lowest rated also did 2.13 rounded up. So, bad sign. It dropped 17% from the first hour to the last hour. The last hour had the Lana Bobby Lashley segment, which, is a big hit on YouTube. It does 5 million views, but they make no money off of that. They don't even have a line item on their financials for YouTube. But it's one of the lowest rated Raws in history. And we're gonna get the lowest rated AEW, lowest rated NXT tonight, and I think we're gonna get the lowest rated SmackDown on Fox this Friday.
Wow. Yeah, both AEW and NXT tonight. 16 million people watched Game 6 of the World Series. Game 7 is about to wrap up right now. We got to figure more than 16 million there. They're both wrestling shows are going to be under 1 million tonight, I have to think.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else?
That's it. We're going to be back tomorrow.
Go Nationals.
Okay. Until next time, folks, I'm Glenn Rubenstein.
So tomorrow, right after Crown Jewel, will be myself and Glenn's. And so this week only, the Winkley, instead of dropping on Thursday, it's going to drop on Friday. Justin will be joining Nick. They will also be going on.
Michael Wiseman.
Michael Wiseman will be joining Nick, and they'll be also talking about Crown Jewel. But we'll be live right after Crown Jewel tomorrow.
Friday, Matt Morgan will be back. Tomorrow, it'll be me, Justin LaBar, talking about Crown Jewel. He's BP Matt Morgan on Twitter and Instagram. He's at Justin LaBar. He's at Raj Giri _303. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein on Twitter, and we will catch you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.